Welcome back to Man Across New Horizons. I'm Day Darling. I shall see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where it's another rainy day. You know, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised that we have as many rainy days nowadays, because we are in April. It is meant to be a rainy season, April showers and all that. That's like, well, I don't know. Is it a phrase or is it an idiom? It might be an idiomatic phrase or something. I'm not really sure. But if it is an idiom, I'm not really sure what the rest of the idiom is. Unless it's just April showers, in which case that's kind of just a phrase in itself. I guess they can kind of overlap, so I don't really know what the point of this conversation was. But anyway, yeah, it's April. It's raining on Fawnhallow. It's not raining in real life, which is good because I went out today and it wasn't particularly interesting. I just had some appointments. That's about it. Yeah, what should we talk about? You know, what big news happened? I saw the Pokemon Company. What's the word? Bought? No, acquired the company which made the Pokemon trading card games, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, I guess, maybe. I'm not really sure how to feel about that. Hello there, everyone. Right now in Fawnhollow, it's 4:47 PM on Wednesday, April 20th, 2022. So we know Crazy Red is here, and by the way, I don't know how to feel about it, not in the sense that it's just like, oh, you know, this seems like a bad thing, like, you know, I've got conflicting emotions about it. It's more like, I literally don't really know what that means, consequence-wise, to be perfectly honest. Now, of course, the Pokemon Company is, by the way, separate from the people who actually make the games. Game Freak make the games, but Pokemon Company are supposed to do all the franchising and merchandising and that sort of things, which, you know, is kind of a bigger part of Pokemon. I'm not gonna lie, you know, the games are a big part of it, definitely. Like, don't get me wrong, and I do quite love quite a few of the games, and, you know, something the games do, at least the idea of the games. Perhaps we say that's something. But merchandising in Pokemon as a franchise goes far bigger than just the games. And yeah, the trading card games is quite a big part of it. And it just got me thinking about back to like primary school. Like Pokemon the trading card game was not actually a big thing in my primary school. And it was not particularly a big thing in our secondary school either. But I was just thinking about the fact that was our primary school? I say, you didn't go to my primary school. Unless you did, in which case, hi, I suppose that's a very weird coincidence. Was just like the classmates, me and my classmates my classmates and I back in primary school, were we just stupid when it came to like trading card games? I know how that sounds, and of course, kids, you know, we're kids, you know, we're like, we've only lived so much of our life, but I don't think we ever played the trading card games as trading card games, because I was thinking about it. The Pokemon card game was not big in our school, Yu-Gi-Oh was also not big in our school, and neither was Magic or anything like that, and I'm sure part of it was the fact that our school actually banned a lot of the trading card games, which made it, you know, a little bit difficult to play any of them. And, you know, how do I feel about that? I'm like, I can see conceptually why you would do it. Crazy Red, you don't have a busted Nefertiti, so bye. Is what I say to that. I understand why they do it. They don't want kids, you know, to bring stuff in and be liable from, like, if the toy gets damaged or lost or anything, or if someone steals it, etc. That's just like a bigger headache for them. They also, I guess, don't want kids to be distracted. Whatever. So, you know, like, in theory, I understand it, but also in practice, isn't that the sort of thing where you could be like, oh, you know, your kids are responsible for anything they bring in. It should be on the onus should be on the parents, right? To just be like, hey, you can't bring that in. That's kind of expensive. Etc. But anyway, I'm not like a headmistress of school, so I don't really think it's my place to really comment on these sort of things. But I'm sure part of it was the fact that trading card games were like not even allowed in that school in the first place, which is probably why Pokemon, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, all those things weren't actually very big in our school. But for some reason, for whatever reason, the trading card game, quote, that was popular in our school, I talked about this before, was the Doctor Who trading card game. Which, I don't know if it's still a thing. Honestly, hold on, let's see if it's still a thing. Because must have been 15 years ago or something. Doctor Who trading cards. Obviously, they must still be going out. I guess merchandising things like trading cards like that must be incredibly popular from like a franchising purposes. They probably make good money. I don't know. Oh, here we go. It's like all of this stuff. I wonder how much they cost. This cost 60p. Okay, not all that much. Turns out not much of a collector's item. For whatever reason, this a trading card game set or whatever was pretty popular in our school from about year 4 onwards, I think. And it was weird because, you know, I did watch a decent amount of Doctor Who. I watched a reasonable amount of Doctor Who when David Tennant was the Doctor, and some of whenever the Ninth Doctor, but I honestly don't know the actor's name, to be perfectly honest, was a Doctor. I wouldn't say I watched it particularly religiously, or like a what do you call like fans of Doctor Who? A who? a Whovian, is that right? I don't really know. That kind of sounds like someone from Dr. Seuss, to be honest. But yeah, I didn't really pay that much attention, and I watched it when it was on. If I remembered, and if I didn't, then so be it. So I didn't really get all in that into the trading card games. But the thing is, a lot of my friends were, I had friends, and, the friend generosity, I suppose, was a virtue taught in our school, that sort of thing, and they would just be like, oh, if ever they had, like, duplicates of a card, they'd be like, hey, do you want these duplicates? I have so many of them, and I was like, sure, like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but also, wasn't it raining on Fawnhallow? Did it just stop raining? What happened? Maybe with a change of hour? I'm not really sure. And they were just like, do you want these cards? And I was like, okay, sure, like, I probably wasn't that dismissive about it. I was probably like, oh yeah, collecting things, absolutely, I love it, give it to me. And then, and from there, that's how my collection grew. I never, ever bought a single pack of those Doctor Who cards, or anything like that. I just bought, I just traded them, like, for my friends when they got duplicates, and then, that's about it. And, like, I remember, for whatever reason, I was like, I want to collect some cards, but I don't know which ones. I ended up with like 200 cards, by the way, and I'm pretty sure I still have them somewhere. Just I don't really know where, nor am I gonna particularly look for them because they're not very interesting. I can't really tell you much about them because I wasn't even that big a fan of Doctor Who. But for some reason there was like they had collections. They were like all the like various characters or whatever from the Doctor Who universe and that sort of thing. For some reason I was very set on collecting all the different helpers for Cassandra, I believe her name is. Don't quote me on that name, but Cassandra is, I've actually not seen any of her episodes, so I don't even know why I did this, but she's basically like this stretched out piece of, like, human skin? Sentient human skin? Which sounds a bit gross, and I guess it kind of is. And she has, like, these attendants, which, well, attend to her. I mean, what else would they do? And they're constantly, like, moisturise her by, like, spraying her with water, I guess, which I'm not really sure that's the best way to moisturise yourself, Cassandra, but and what do I know? And if anything, I feel like a moisturising cream would be better, because I feel like the water would just, like, evaporate and then end up drying your skin even more, but what do I know? Yeah, where she has these attendants, and I remember there was, like, attendant 1, attendant 2, attendant 3, attendant 4, and, like, the super attendant or whatever, and then for some reason I was very dead set on collecting all of those. I think I did manage to get a collection of all of them in the end. I remember having to trade with this one person who was the only person who had, like, attendant 3, because we weren't allowed to normally bring them in, but, like, on, like, the last day of school or whatever, like, all rules off for that day, it's like, oh, everyone brings in, like, their consoles, like Nintendo DS's, because that's what the console was that time for us. And the games, and we all have a grand old time playing these sort of games. That's actually a story for another time now I think about it. And so one of the years, like, I went and bought them, like, trading cards, and that's when I was like, no. That's mainly when I started, like, one of my biggest collection, I think, of them in general. And I bought them and I traded, and I remember having to trade with this one person who was the only one who I think had the attendant free or whatever, and, like, trying to figure out what to even trade with him to get it in the first place. Except for I might have been, I don't actually remember if I even got it in the end or not, to be perfectly honest, but for some reason that came to mind. Oh man, I just got, like, another, like, flashback to trading. It wasn't even, like, a trading card game. It was based off this movie Flushed Away, which is, I don't even know what studio made that. I seen by the same people who made Wallace and Gromit, because it's got that sort of style, but let's see. Flushed Away wiki, and it was a movie I've seen. Oh, it's a DreamWorks animation film. Why do I think it was like a stop motion animation? Is it not a stop motion animation? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't remember the plot and reciters, but for some reason, in our school, our entire class got, like, bookmarks, each, like, depicting one of the different characters and Flushed Away, like the main guy, the main girl, the evil villain, I think, and for some reason, like, this mascot character which appeared, which was basically this really, honestly, kind of ugly looking slug. I will say that the aesthetic style of Flushed Away is not really to my sort of tastes, but if it's to yours, more power to you. I remember it was just like one of the days we all got randomly given oops, that's the wrong flower. I didn't mean to dig that one up. Randomly got given 2 bookmarks, one with each of its sort of characters, and then for some reason we were given, like, 10 minutes to basically trade all the bookmarks you want with other people to try and, like, get whichever ones you want. I don't think that's what it really was. It wasn't like this is a trading time. It was just more like a crossover time between lessons or something. I don't really recall. And I remember for some reason I was just like, you know what? I want to get 2 bookmarks, and they're both going to be the slugs. For no apparent reason. I don't even know if I saw the movie at that some point, and it seems a bit out of character for me to just basically go after the mascot characters, which I don't really care about all that much. But, you know, I did it in the end. And I remember trying to convince this girl in our class to trade, like, because I had a bookmark of, like, the main heroine or whatever, and I was just like, oh, you know, why do you want that slug or anything anyway? And then, you know, eventually I convinced her. I don't know. I suppose it's quite nice of her to even trade in the first place, because I don't even know she was even or into that sort of idea in the first place. But I have no idea why I did that in the slightest, but I did. So, you know, very, very strange one past me, and maybe that's just sort of like a peek into an insight of my primary school class, of how we approached these sort of collecting style games, paraphernalia is not really the right word, I'll be honest, where we didn't actually play the game which was, you know, intended by the game. We just kind of did whatever we wanted. Before we go to Captain, I think we're going to sell these seashells and make room in our inventory, just in case we get the night island, in which case we'd probably want to have enough room to actually carry everything over again. Yeah, so but anyway, but let's continue on the story about the Doctor Who trading card game. I remember years later. No, it wasn't years later. No, it was this kid in the year above me. He was like, I think he was, well, I kind of just assumed he was super into Doctor Who and that sort of thing. And he actually bought the magazine. He was actually a really sweet kid, from what I remember. I don't remember him too well, because I think he transferred to our school or something one of the years. But anyway, he was a sweet kid, and he bought a magazine, and I remember he let me look at it, which was kind of strange, because I didn't even think we were very close friends, but he knew who I was for some reason. I don't really know how that works, but whatever, and then I didn't really question about it. I remember reading the magazines, and I remember stumbling upon the part about the Doctor Who trading card game and being like, whoa, the trading card game actually has like a game you're meant to play with it. I cannot tell you how you're meant to play the game. I think it was kind of like Top Trumps, where you basically like, you have, if you don't have to play Top Trumps, it's basically you look at the top card on your deck, and then whoever's turn it is chooses one of the stats, and they try and beat the other person. They try and choose a stat they think is the highest on that card, or at least higher than your opponent's. And then with that, if you win, your turn continues, and if you lose, it switches to the other person's turn. And it's basically just a sort of memorization game about the database of the top trump cards you had. Now I think about it, which doesn't sound really all that appealing now I'd say about it, but it's a very sort of fun thing to do on like school journeys and that sort of thing. And they have top trumps themed after all sorts of different topics. And I suppose I should talk about top trumps some other day, but right now we're talking about trading card games. Yeah, I think it was like that, and it just sort of blew my mind. I was like, wow, there's a whole like game to do this. I've literally never played it. And even like in secondary school, I started like getting into Pokemon, that sort of thing, getting into like a Pokemon trading card game, that sort of thing. That I've only ever played the trading card game like in person a couple of times with, you know, one of my good friends, where we both bought like some of the packs at the same time, and then like I invited them around to my house, and we like made some decks and fought each other. You might be like, oh, what sort of pack did you play? It was a one, you bought like these tins, and it either came with Charizard, Rayquaza, or Garchomp. It was those boxes. I honestly cannot tell you what they were, but if you're a Pokemon expert, perhaps you can share your insight into that. Yeah, I bought like 3 of those tins, and amusingly I ended up with 2 Garchomps and 1 Charizard, if I recall. And I played using that. I don't remember in the slightest what deck I made. There was no semblance to it or whatever, no sense of strategy or like research of what things synergize now. Like, and if I were to play any sort of strategy or card game now, you know, and probably do my research, being like, oh, what sort of build should I do? Like, my approach to trading card games is sort of like, I've evolved this weird duality where I'm just like, I want to do weird stuff. So like the first things I'll do will always be like build weird decks, try weird things and stuff like that. Like I always did it at Hearthstone. I just like played Mill Rogue, despite the fact it wasn't even a deck I've really when I played it. I like doing weird stuff like that. And then my second step is when I start playing the game more. It's like, all right, now it's time to start winning, in which I just copy whatever deck which I like the most. The sound the most. I can't remember what deck I used to play. I assume it was Temper Rogue, but I honestly don't recall from Hearthstone all that well, to be honest. And also I don't really play that much Hearthstone in the first place. But like Yeah, that's the same sort of thing. I mean, nowadays I kind of skip the experimentation step unless it's a game I really particularly like. Because the problem with trading card games is that unless you start out with the entire deck, it's kind of like difficult to actually really experiment all that much because you don't have the entire sort of like toolkit to actually play around with in the first place, which is, you know, kind of sad, I think. And nowadays, yeah, when I play Pokemon, I'm just like, oh, you know, what sort of deck do I want? You might be like, what deck do you want? Well, I mean, I have played a bit of a Pokemon trading card game online, you know, the app and that sort of thing. And the only deck I want to make, I suppose, is I can't remember because the Pokemon trading card game has changed so much from when I used to play it. It's the one with, it hinges around this like Gardevoir Sylveon card, and I think it's a store like mill deck or something. And I'm not sure if it's a mill deck, but I know it's a store deck because mill decks aren't really a thing in the Pokemon trading card meta. I think maybe I don't really know. But I remember also before, like I wanted to make a Night March deck. Because the Night March deck is just like, I love weirdo gimmicks and things like that. You know, you love me. Love me? Well, I hope not. I don't even know who you are, but, you know, maybe in that sort of like platonic love. We can share that sort of relationship. Sorry, a bit of Freudian slip there. No, I love weird gimmicks and I love like strange things. And you know me, is what I meant to say. Weirdo like styles like that is exactly what I like, and lucky for you, that's what I like. And one of them is the Night March deck, which basically just constitutes of basically trying to discard as many of your Night March Pokemon as possible, then having one of them have Night March. Use Night March. I think it was like you used a Mew or something which could copy. You use Night March from a different Pokemon in your deck, and Night March would get stronger based on how many of them you had in your discard pile, if I recall. And I was like, that's such a weird concept for a deck, and I love it. And it was so weird, it's because you ran Pokemon, which you didn't even run the pre-evolution for. So I believe you ran Lampent, but you didn't run Litwick in the first place, which is just sort of like, what? I love that, the weirdness as that, as a sort of concept. Anyway, I never got around to constructing it, because while I do love the concept of like trading card games and, you know, well, okay, I'm not going to say I love a concept. I like the concept of trading card games and building decks and like sort of experimenting with not styles and like metas and strategies and that sort of thing. But of course, the worst part of it is the fact you actually had to get the cards in the first place. And I'm not that interested in shelling out tons of money to like opening loads of packs to actually get what I want. I'm totally fine with actually just like buying the cards like straight up, right? But at that point I'm just like, oh, there's not really much experimentation here, and I'm not like that invested in the card game, which I'm glad to see actually in the Pokemon trading card game. When I first started playing it, but I don't actually, there might have been a marketplace, but there was like nothing on the marketplace. But nowadays there is, well, I say nowadays, like maybe a couple of years ago when I actually like revitalized playing it, there was actually quite a lot of trading going along on the thing. I was like, oh, it's actually kind of feasible now to actually get decks at a slow rate if you're free to play. It's a lot. What is that? Is that a flower clip? I don't really know. It's a lot more feasible to get the cards if you actually buy them in real life and use the codes, etc., etc. But I'm not that invested in a Pokemon trading card games or that sort of thing. A slip dress. This is new. I saw like, I don't remember seeing this before. Anyway, we're gonna buy it. Still don't have a heart clip, but we'll purchase these things and, you know, store them in our storage. So yeah, I don't know where I was really going with that. Store decks, mill decks, you know. I love strange gimmicky things like that. But yeah, like, that's the only time I've ever played a Pokemon trading card game. Like, I can't believe it wasn't a thing in a primary school. I can't believe we never played it. Well, I can believe it because it was, you know, it just we weren't allowed to bring cards, I suppose. But like even outside of school, I'm surprised we never played it. And Yu-Gi-Oh was basically non-existent whatsoever. Like no one basically knew what Yu-Gi-Oh. Well, again, not no one knew what Yu-Gi-Oh was, but basically no one really played it in our primary school. Secondary school is a different sort of story. You know, some of my friends apparently used to play when they were younger. About Yu-Gi-Oh when they were younger. Like I don't think I've ever played. No, that's not true. I have played one game of Yu-Gi-Oh on my friend's like Yu-Gi-Oh DS game or something. I think I lost. I don't remember what I was doing because I don't know how you play Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm gonna be honest. The only thing I know is Exodia, and you know some other Yu-Gi-Oh memes like my grandpa's deck has no rubbish cards. Is that a quote coast? I don't have a quote coast to be honest. No, pathetic cards. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I don't know how to play Magic. I know you tap lands and you untap them. I think. Is it Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh which you put things in attack or defense mode? it's always an idea which has passed through my mind. It's like whenever I don't know about something extremely popular. Oh, Celeste's here. Okay, so you're going to be visiting later tonight. I always feel like I should basically attempt to try and explain the rules as I understand it. Because that sounds hilarious. And it's a thing I wish I did. I wish I basically try and not for bits, for Star Wars, actually. You might not believe it. Because I hadn't watched Star Wars until Star Wars number 7, I forget what it's called, came out. And I only watched it because my friends wanted to see it. And I was like, okay, I guess I should watch Star Wars movies to actually understand what's going on. And then I proceeded to forget everything about it anyway, so it didn't really matter. But it's the sort of thing where it's just like, I wish before I watched the movies, I just like sat down and wrote what I thought the plot of Star Wars was, because I feel like it would have been utterly hilarious to read, especially if you're in the know, if you're a big Star Wars fan, you'd just be like, oh, this is what the interpretation of Star Wars was. Like, but there are a few bits and pieces I remember. I must have talked to this about this like at some point. Like, I thought Boba Fett was like a huge part of Star Wars. And then, like, I didn't even realise he was in the movie when I watched the movies or something. Like, I didn't even notice him. But I thought he was literally, like, a titular character or something like that. I'm trying to think what else I knew. I really didn't know that much. I didn't really know, like, the whole premise and that sort of thing. Like, I didn't really... Like, I thought Yoda was just, like, always there as a mentor. Not that he's just some, like, weird guy which Luke discovers on Dagobah? Daboga? I don't remember what that planet is called. I apologise. Yeah, I really wish I did, but I didn't. Anyway, so maybe I could talk about how I think you play Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, Magic the Gathering. I mean, I know lands are kind of like is the equivalent of like mana, quote quote, in Hearthstone. So you need to like use lands or something to play cards, right? And lands is basically like your sort of energy that you got. I don't really know what tapping them does. Maybe, I guess tapping them puts them in like some sort of different mode where you can use them differently. You summon your cards, and then you play your cards, and then you use your cards to attack either the opponent or their cards, I guess. And I assume you win whenever their health gets to 0. How much health do you start off with? I don't know. I know Yu-Gi-Oh is like in the thousands or something. I don't really know what Magic the Gathering is. I don't even know how much damage things do. Maybe things do like 10 damage. Let's say you start with 50 health. I don't know. Maybe that's totally out. I don't know why I'm visiting you again. I literally just walked in here. Sorry. I literally don't know what to say. I know there's different types of like decks. There's like blue, red, black, white, green. Blue, red, black, white, green. That sounds about right. There might be more. I don't think it's more. I think it's 5. Why does that not sound right? What would be archetypes for each of the decks? I think black was like sacrificing stuff, wasn't it? Sacrificing health. I bet it's all like necromantic stuff like that. I bet it's meant to be for evil deck. I don't know how else. I guess white would be the opposite of that. So it's all about healing. Maybe playing like a big minions. Maybe it's all about ramping. You know. Playing for the late game. Red. I don't know. Rush deck. So we've got small minions, which are easy fodder, and you sort of like whittle down your opponent like that through, like Zerg Rush. Blue and green, I don't know. What other sort of deck archetypes? One of them's like the weirdo deck archetype, isn't it? I'm gonna say that's blue. Blue's a bit, green's more of a weirdo colour. I'm gonna say it's green. They got like a load of strange mechanics, a load of like meta mechanics or something which play around with stuff, and then blue is just, I don't know, big guys, big old minions. That's the thing, right? Like there's like the 3 like names that you use for like Magic players. It's like Timmy, Rex, and Spike. Is that right? I don't remember which way around it. And honestly, I have no clue. But I'm sure that's relevant to someone. I don't know what to say. I think it's spells. I don't know if it's items. I don't really know what other mechanics are. To be perfectly honest, I don't know. People enjoy it. Like, this is not meant to be like, oh, look at Magic, screw Magical. Any sort of trading card game. If you like it, by all means, carry on playing it, carry on liking it. It doesn't like I'm not dissing on it, or I don't intend to diss on it, and I apologise if it's coming off that way. I'm just like I thought it would be funny to just try and share how little I even know about it in the first place. I think, isn't that like Planeswalkers a thing? Because I have a friend who actually really does quite like Magic. I don't think he plays much anymore, but you know, he likes keeping up, I suppose, with the news. In that sort of vicinity, like you know, I mean, it was very understandable. Like I keep up with news and other sort of things, even if I'm not particularly active in them anymore. I know what I think they're called, like plane walkers. Oh, they're called Horizon Walkers. No, Horizon Walkers is a D&D class. But I think they're called plane walkers. I don't know who they are. I assume they're like deities or something. They're like really important. I mean, like plane walker sounds like a deity, doesn't it? Like when you say plane walker, I just imagine like this huge behemoth of like an absolute titan, just sort of like walking across like the different planes of existence or something. Like an eldritch being, like the Watchers on League of Legends. Yeah. Some sort of like eldritch being who strides across the land. I know their thing. I don't really know anything about them, I'm going to be honest. I know there's like a lot of lore and stuff. I know it's Wizards of the Coast, so... well, actually, I don't know if Magic the Gathering takes place in the Forgotten Realms. I assume the D&D IP and the Magic the Gathering IP is kind of separate, but I don't actually know. No, they must be separate, because I remember my friend telling me about the fact they had like a collaboration set or something with them a while back. Maybe it's like a year ago. I don't really recall. I know Magic Gathering have done a lot of collaboration things. Like I remember Fortnite collaborated with them, and I was like, what? That's quite funny. There's some other like mainstream games they collaborated with, I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember off the top of my head. They collaborated with Arcane, right? With Riot Games, well, some release of Arcane. By the way, Arcane, very good. You should watch it. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! I know even less about. I know there's like different turn phases in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the one where you can put things in attack mode and defense mode. I don't really know how the rest of it works. I know there's trap cards. I don't really know what those are. I guess I'm going to assume like kind of like secrets in Hearthstone, where you sort of like place them face down, and then like when the specific condition is met, they activate. I don't really know what else there is. There's like the Shadow Realm. I don't really know what that is. I guess it's a graveyard. I know there's Exodia. Well, if you collect all the pieces of Exodia, you win. I know Magic the Gathering is Black Lotus, which is OP or something, and super rare. It's like the most expensive card in the game. I don't really know what else. It's actually kind of hard to talk about it. I feel like I need someone who actually knows about Magic the Gathering to be basically like, what do you think this is? And then I'll give my answer, in which case it's kind of hard to do it unprompted because I don't even know what to talk about. But there you go. I don't know. Trading card games. I still haven't really played it all that much, apart from the Pokemon one, to be honest. But even that I haven't played all that much because I can't create the decks I want. But, you know, I think they're fun, honestly, in concept. And the trading part, though, of course, I do like to collect things, so that also has its own sort of appeal. But, you know, I just never really got into them. But anyway, if you, we're going to round off this episode here. So, if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. Oh, yeah, hold on, I forgot as well. Pyre, new Let's Play series started today. Hopefully you look forward to it, or already have looked forward to it. Anyway, that was a side note. If you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, description, shares are greatly appreciated. Join my Dear Darling Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope we see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.